I had a drink just before I came on. I apologize. Okay, so welcome to Monday Moon Musings. And so, the Monday Moon Musings is all about the energies of the moon of this current week. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, Giganumi Gunkwe is my spirit name, which means talking feather woman. And so every Monday, starting today for the first time in 2023, I will bring to you Monday Moon Musings. And so you can also have access to a full detailed report on my website. So if you go to rolialair.ca/musings, you will actually find my current blog, and in which you will actually find the moon musings for this week. So I've got my little cheat sheet so that I can share with you what is, in summary, what it is that's going on in 10 minutes or less. And so, so this week, we are starting off in the energy of the first quarter moon, which started on December 29th. And so December 29th is when we were at that first quarter of the moon, where the first part of the moon was actually illuminated from the dark of the new moon. And so it's going to be ending this afternoon. For those of us who are in Eastern time, it is Monday. And so it's really important for us to be able to make decisions. So if you're still in this energy right now, then it's really important for us to be able to make decisions that are actually going to help us with getting us to the intentions of our new moon. And so of the intentions for our new moon that we just had. So then we're actually going to be also in the energy, or starting off this week also in the energy of the waxing gibbous moon. So one of the things that I share with people is that my teachings have been that when we've got like the bulk of the moon, so the new moon, the first quarter, full moon, and last quarter, we have the energy stays with us 3 days before, 3 days after, giving us a week of that energy. But one of the things is that when we actually reach that peak of the first quarter moon, very shortly after that, we move into the waxing gibbous moon. And so this is a reminder for us to be able to stay the course. And so it's really easy for us to be able to be like, oh no, I don't want to do this. And so really important for us to be able to stay the course and continue in that energy. And that's what the waxing gibbous energy moon phase actually helps us with. And so it's really important for us not to resist the feeling of change. And so the other thing that we're starting this week off is in Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde is happens about 4 times a year, and we always hear that, oh my gosh, it's Mercury retrograde, all of our technology doesn't work, all these different things are not happening. And that is one aspect of Mercury retrograde, but there's a little bit more to that as well. And so Mercury is the planet of the mind and communication, and retrograde is when it appears like it is actually going backwards in the sky. So it actually isn't going backwards, but that's what it looks like when we're actually looking at it. And so during this time, this is a really good time. Yes, there's tech things that we might have to change, or there's some things that we may have to look at, and it may be reflected back. But this is also a really good time for us to be able to use that energy to start something new. So what else is happening? What else can we be doing instead? And so when we're running into these glitches, what else can we be doing to make it better, or to shift it, or to make that connection? And we might as well do something with it, because we're in this energy until the 18th of January. And so, because generally Mercury retrograde is roughly about 3 weeks. So then until about 5:15 Eastern, we have been in the Taurus energy, which started on the on New Year's Eve, actually. Going back and look at my notes, I was going to say the 29th, but it wasn't the 29th. And so the themes were actually about sensuality and earthiness and practicality. And this is a good time for us to take our time and to be able to slow things down and not be in such a big rush to do things. And so just slow and steady wins the race kind of energy is that bull in Taurus, where it actually just kind of moves and shifts slightly. So then we're going to actually start off this evening in a void moon energy. So just as we're actually starting dinner time, for most of us, we're going to be in that void energy. And so when we're in that void energy, it's that energy between the in this case, the Taurus moon and the Cancer moon energies. And so it's just that kind of like in between where it's not really reflecting much aspects. And so the void moon actually can be just a couple minutes to a couple of hours to a couple of days. And so it all depends on where things are. Not very often that we actually see them over a long period of time. Usually they're kind of quick, but it does happen where they're a little bit longer. And sometime this week we actually have where we start on one day and it takes us into the next day. And so that is a really good time for us to be able to do self-reflection. Grandmother Moon really is, and Moon Medicine is about that self-reflection and really looking back at what is it that's happening and how can we see things shift. And so where we're going to shift into that Gemini air energy. And so Gemini air is all about communications and travel and neighbors and our siblings. And so that is where a lot of our focus may be taken to over the next couple days after we shift into that Gemini moon energy. And so Gemini moon, so air moons are about all being in our head. So like it's all airy, it's all thoughts and things like that. And so Gemini moons are a lot like Aries moons, where they're really fast. So Aries moon is really fast, but it's very fast in terms of taking action. And Gemini moon is lots of thoughts and lots of ideas and stuff, maybe kind of like pouring in, and that may be what it is that you're getting. So both moons move very, very fast. And before you know it, we'll be out of that Gemini moon. So Wednesday, we will move out of Gemini into a longer moon, which was a longer void moon, which I was actually referring to earlier. And if you can avoid doing anything during that time, then that's perfect. But obviously it's the middle of the week. So for most of us, that's probably not likely and not necessarily practical. And so, but it's a really good time for us to be able to self-reflect, as well as really important for us not to make any decisions during a void moon. And so generally speaking, when you make a decision during a void moon, then things fall apart or things don't happen or like it's a bad deal, that kind of thing. So just try to avoid doing that kind of thing during a void moon if you can. Obviously, it's an if you can. So Thursday morning around 9:15 a.m., we're actually going to start into the Cancer water energy. So water energies are always about emotion, and we're always really emotional in that water energy. And so, but Cancer specifically is a good time for you to be able to spend with time and family. So we moved out of that Taurus energy, which was home and slow and steady, and now then we're moving into that Cancer energy of and it's still a lot about family and friends and being connected, but from that emotional standpoint. Whereas Taurus was like slow and steady and practical, this is more about that emotional part. So we're going to stay in that energy until Friday at 6:07 p.m. And then we're actually going to be moving into the full moon in Cancer. So we're going to be in that full moon in Cancer, and the full moon is about being able to be grateful and expressing forgiveness and for ourselves and to others as to what it is that's going on. So this is a really good time for you to be able to practice forgiveness rituals. And so while we are actually in the Cancer energy, we're also like a full moon is that we're actually fighting between two different signs. Whereas a new moon, we're in the same sign on both the sun and the moon. And so we're on that same angle. Whereas on the full moon, there's two different aspects that are actually pushing and pulling. And in this case, it's Capricorn. And Capricorn helps to move you out of your comfort zone. So you've got this push-pull of like Cancer that wants to be home and family and friends and just being comfortable. And then you've got the new moon, full moon, Capricorn moon that's actually trying to push you out into the next part of things. And so Saturday, we're actually going to be moving into another void moon. And this is a really good evening if you can actually stay in and do some self-reflecting, because you're going to be home during that evening full moon. And then just as we're getting ready to go to bed, for those of us in the Eastern world, is that we're going to be moving into Leo, which is a fire moon. And this moon is all about confidence. And then it's really important when we're in that fire Leo energy to be able to show off what it is that we have and that we've been working on and what it is that we have going on. And then we're going to end the week in Leo energy with the waning gibbous and or the disseminating moon, which is a focus of gratitude to end the week. And so that is how our week is going to look. I will chat with you guys next week on Moon Musings, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.